One of the most controversial aspects of Ron DeSantis' record as the governor of Florida is how he has handled the coronavirus pandemic. DeSantis has been praised by some and criticized by others for his approach, which has defied lockdowns and mask mandates, and promoted vaccine distribution and monoclonal antibody treatments. DeSantis declared a state of emergency in Florida on March 9, 2020, when there were confirmed infections in 8 counties. He advised vulnerable people to avoid cruise ships, long flights, and large gatherings. He also activated the Florida National Guard and gave the state's emergency management director the authority to suspend any laws that would hinder the response to the crisis. However, DeSantis was slow to impose a statewide lockdown. He did so on April 1, 2020, after more than 30 other states had already done so. His order allowed people to leave their homes for essential services or activities, but also included a broad list of exemptions, such as religious services, recreational activities, and pet care. DeSantis soon began to reopen the state's economy despite rising cases and deaths. He lifted restrictions on restaurants, bars, gyms, and retail stores in May. He also banned local governments from enforcing mask mandates or fines for violating social distancing rules. He argued that Florida had flattened the curve and that lockdowns were ineffective and harmful. DeSantis also resisted school closures and pushed for in-person learning. He threatened to withhold funding from districts that did not offer full-time classroom instruction. He claimed that children were at low risk of contracting or spreading the virus, and that remote learning was inferior to face-to-face education. DeSantis has been a vocal supporter of vaccine distribution and monoclonal antibody treatments. He launched a program to prioritize seniors for vaccination and set up pop-up sites in underserved communities. He also established monoclonal antibody clinics across the state to provide free treatment for people who tested positive for COVID. He said that these therapies were proven to reduce hospitalizations and deaths. However, DeSantis has also been accused of playing politics with the pandemic. He has clashed with the Biden administration over vaccine mandates for federal workers and contractors. He has sued the federal government over its requirement for cruise ships to follow CDC guidelines. He has banned businesses from requiring proof of vaccination from customers or employees. DeSantis has also questioned the safety and efficacy of vaccines, especially for young men. He has suggested that vaccine makers and public health officials have ulterior motives and have not been transparent about the risks and benefits of vaccination. He has hired a surgeon general who is a COVID-19 vaccine skeptic and who allegedly altered scientific data to support his views. DeSantis' COVID-19 record has been a source of controversy and debate. Some see him as a champion of freedom and common sense who has protected Florida's economy and health care system. Others see him as a reckless and irresponsible leader who has endangered public health and ignored science.